All right, so this is the third part of this video. And in this third video, we're going to be initiating a scan. As I speak, the Nessus is still downloading plugins. All right, so see what I'm going to do. This very Kali Linux here is the one that I just demonstrated how to install Nessus on. And if I go back to settings and go to events, you see that the downloads of the plugins are still ongoing. All right, so we're not going to wait for these plugins to finish downloading. What I'm going to do is to use this other Kali. So I've already done this before now, and this is the Kali machine. So this very one is different from the other Kali. If I do IP address, you're going to see that on Ethernet 0 here, my IP address is 10.7, right? So why the other Kali, that the Nessus is still ongoing, my IP is totally different. So here, if I do IP add, you're going to see under the Ethernet 0, this is 0117. So let's use the other one that is available. And here, we're going to go to a browser and HTTPS, then put in the machine IP, and it's going to take you to Nessus login page. Click on login, and once the plugins are done downloading, it's going to display this way, right? So let's click on close, and we can now go to new scan, and you can see a whole lot of options we've got here. We can perform host discovery, but what I want us to do now is basic network scan. We'll wait for that guy to load. So we'll say scan my web server, which is my OWASP server. And if you like, I'm putting description in here. This should be on the default folder, which is called my scans. If you don't want it to be on this folder, you can actually create another folder. So that's not a problem. And here, we're going to define the target that we want to scan. So coming back to my VirtualBox, I've got a web server here. So let's check what the IP address of this server is. So here, if I do IP add, and we'll check the Ethernet 0, you can see the IP is 0.159. So that's the web server that we want to scan. If you really want to check if this is actually a web server, put that IP address here, 192.168.0.159, and you could see the website. So we want to scan this website for vulnerabilities using Nessus. So you can navigate to any page here to see what the website looks like. Okay, so let's go back to Nessus page and then put in the IP address of the target. Of course, the IP is 0.159, all right? So we just confirm that is a web server. So this is 0.159. So I can copy this, come back to Nessus, paste it in here. That's the target. You know, you can put more than one target. So let's remove this. We only need the IP address. So that's the target. And you can actually do this from adding a file, so you can upload targets. So let's say that you've got targets in a notepad, so 192.168, maybe 0.150, and a host of other IPs listed on this notepad. We can actually go to save it anywhere we want. And once that guy is saved, let's say this guy is on the desktop, and we'll click on, we have to give it a name. So host, we can say host IPs, and we click on save. So we have saved it. We can actually go to add file and have to navigate to desktop, and we'll select this guy. So you get the idea. That's how you can actually add file. All right. So for now, I'm typing it in manually, and you can actually, we are currently on the general settings. Here, you can also perform credential scan, and here we are expected to put in the credential of the device, okay, that we want to scan. And here we are going to scan not a Windows device, but a Linux device, so we'll be using SSH. So on the SSH, we are not going to use public key, rather we're going to use passwords, right? And username for that OWASP is root, and the password for that OWASP is OWASP BWA. All right, and then we're going to use that information on port 22 to scan that guy. So we've created credential here, all right, and just mistakenly click on save. We are not done yet. I'm going to go back to edit this guy. So go to configure. That takes us back. So I accidentally clicked on save when I'm not done yet. So we went to credential and we have configured a credential that will be used to scan this machine. All right. You can also see the plugins that are available. All right. So that these have been downloaded, and I can scan a whole lot of stuff here. Well, let's come back to credential. So credential is set up. If you are doing this scan on a Windows AD, credentials will be created under the Windows. So let's come back to settings, and here we have defined our target. We can also define the schedule. So if you put this guy on enable, it means that this scan is going to run on a particular time of the day. So for now, I don't want to schedule it. And you can also configure notification here, where you define your SMTP server so that when this scan is complete, an email will be sent to you. So you have to set up your SMTP server details here. So I don't need this notification. I don't need schedule. We are done with the general settings. And if we go to discovery, we're just going to leave this on port scan. We're going to scan common ports. You can also scan all ports. That is going to take a longer time, or you can also customize this. So I'm going to scan common ports like HTTP, HTTPS, Telnet, SSH, etc. And that's on basic. So if you look at discovery here, that's where we'll configure this. And then you can look at assessment, the type of scan that you want to do. You can scan for web vulnerabilities, which are known vulnerabilities. You can scan for all web vulnerabilities, quick scan, or you scan for all web vulnerabilities, complex. It's going to take longer time. Let me scan for well-known vulnerabilities. This is going to be quick. And under the reports, you can define what you want to see in your reports, okay? The outputs allow users to edit the scan result if that's what you want. And yeah, so I'm just going to leave everything the way it is. You can also go to the advanced and you configure the advanced settings here, right? So we're going to leave this advanced because I'm going to run another scan after this, and I'll be covering the advanced scan, all right? So under the settings tab, you configure all of this. Under the basic, you configure the general settings here, and you can schedule it, you can enable notification, then you configure the discovery, the kind of scan you want to do, and then under the assessment, what kind of vulnerabilities do you want to see, and then the reporting, what should be included in the report. And once you are done with all of these settings, you come down here at the bottom. It's actually below my recording screen, but at the bottom here you see save. Click on save button, and it's saving the scan configuration. All right, so we can always go to my scans, and you'll see that this scan has been configured, but it has not run. So if you feel like you clicked on save too early, as I did before now, you can always select this guy. You go to more, and you go back to configure. It takes you back to the configuration page where you can make the necessary change. And then come back here to my scan. And at this point, you want to start this guy. So select this scan. And here, we are going to launch the scan. All right. So the scan is launched. And you could see here running. All right. So at the end of the scan, we're going to be analyzing the discovered vulnerabilities. And when we are done with that, we're going to go to the fourth part of this video, where we'll be going for advanced scan, and then we'll be scanning a Windows Active Directory. All right. So let's hang on and wait for this scan to complete. Okay. Finally, the scan has completed, and you could see the icon here. So hover your mouse here, it should show completed. Maybe I have to select the scan and hover my mouse here, so it's completed. If you click here again, it's going to rescan it. All right, so let's look at the output, the results of the scan. So click on the scan name, and in here you could see that, yeah, authentication was passed. Remember that this is a credential scan, so we have to provide during the setup the username and password of the machine that we want to scan. All right, so vulnerabilities discovered quite a lot. OWASP web server is a vulnerable web server, so we do expect to have a lot of vulnerabilities. This is critical vulnerabilities 73, high vulnerabilities 163, medium is 188, low vulnerabilities 27, and we have informational, which is 134. So if you look at the vulnerability rating here, it was actually done using the CVSS. So look at the severity base, which is the common vulnerability scoring system. It's like a calculator that helps Nessus to rate the vulnerabilities in terms of their severity. So let's take a look at what we have here. So up here you can see vulnerabilities, and you can see remediation steps. All right, so if you click on remediation, that's where they are going to tell you what you need to do to fix the vulnerabilities. So most of the vulnerabilities here, update the affected package. Yep, so you see here, update the affected Firefox. But let's actually take a look at the vulnerabilities themselves before we look at the remediation. So this is critical vulnerability. So you could see the CVSS score 9.8. Why I like Nessus is if it tells you a vulnerability is critical, it means that that vulnerability needs to be fixed urgently, very urgent. All right, so we're going to pay more attention to critical vulnerabilities compared to medium, right? So this is medium vulnerability, which is 6.5. We can actually leave this and then pay attention more to this. We can always come back to medium and fix them. So you fix them in the order of their severity. Now let's take a look at this one here. SSL version 2 and 3 is detected on the server. So if you click here, you're going to see what actually was detected. So this machine still allows SSL 2.0 and 3.0. Both of these versions of SSL are outdated, and as a matter of fact, there is a cryptographic flaw in these versions of SSL. So what is being used now is TLS. So an attacker can actually exploit these flaws and perform a man in the middle. Okay, so Nessus is actually recommending a solution. What you need to fix this is a solution. You need to use TLS 1.2. This actually is what you should be using, TLS, which is transport layer security. 1.2, 1.3, that is fine. SSL is out of date. So apart from discovering the vulnerability, is going to rate it in terms of their severity, and is going to give you a fix, the needed steps, what you need to do, which is solution to fix the discovered vulnerability. So this is the end of this very presentation. We just did a very basic scan of Nessus, scanning a web server in OWASP. And when we come back in the fourth part of this video, we're going to be scanning an AD server. So you could see here we have Active Directory starter scan. We should be able to scan an Active Directory server and eventually perform advanced scan, because what we just did was a basic network scan. So we do an Active Directory scan in our next video, and after that we'll perform advanced scan. If you found value in this presentation, kindly subscribe to this channel, like and share this video so that others too can discover it. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.